Alright, here's the rewiring going, and you can see it's fitted in there very snugly. I heat shrink this whole area so that not only does it fit snugly, but it makes it much harder to clip the wiring. And then we can see the wiring going off this way, which comes to mini Deans, which is also mini Deans for the Murph. And that's been pre-fitted, so now I'm just pre-fitting the this wiring right here. And then I'll be all set. And it's a really freaking snug fit for the for that wiring. I mean, I tested with the motor going across it. It just touches it down in there. It's perfect. Nice little snug fit. Alright, so I was attempting to close the gearbox very slowly, and I didn't even push down very hard. You can see the wiring didn't get pinched. It just started to pinch the top of the heat shrink, reason why I put it there. So there's just tiny marks on the heat shrink. Wiring's unaffected, of course, but just want to show that I'm going to cut down some of these areas slightly. Those little pins that come up for the wiring, just so I don't pinch the wiring in here like before. And just in case, if you're at home rewiring this yourself or whatever, the back here is the black area, the front's going to be the red. The red is always a little bit longer because it trails around here too, like this, and the black just comes up and over here. Now they don't go straight to the location, they kind of come at this angle and go here, and this one comes over and goes here. So you can see it's going to curve into the location. At the same time, depending on what pins you're using here, or connector ends, these are Lonex, which is really nice because they have a little lockdown right here. Makes it easy to put them in. They don't break easily for me. I've never broken these. So what I'm going to do here is clip these, put them in place, and solder them, and then crimp them. So you could actually, depending on how you solder them, if you solder them a little bit higher, right in that middle area, then crimp. You could crimp and solder, but the thing about crimping, you got to be careful, is if you put too much solder and you crimp it, you kind of mess up the solder a little bit. You have to be careful. So basically, you can crimp it first, then drop some solder in there. You can pre-tin it, leave some solder in there, crimp it, and then solder it down. Now here, to explain, what you want to do is cut right at the 90 degrees so it makes it easier for you. If you have too much or too little, it can be bad too. So you want to stop right about at this, where this black spot is here, and right where that red spot is there, and leave not much extra. Okay, because a little bit is okay. Too less, of course, would really screw you over, but a tiny bit, little bit. Check it twice before you cut it, that way you don't screw up. Cut them, and then what you're going to do is take the pistol grip, undo the pistol grip, and solder these wires. Would be easier. Now when you do it that way, you got to remember which way they go, because some of the wiring I've worked with, and this low resistance wiring is a lot easier to wire because it's a little thinner, but the way you get around that is of course, the Lonex motor doesn't pull very much amperage, but let's get to the main point here, Zach. You would take this out, put it down on the board, where I put it down on a board, and position how it would go in here. That way you don't have to flip this, turn it, whatever. So when you end up, you just slide it right on. Okay, you don't just solder one way, because then you have to turn this around and flip it in here. You solder the way it's going to connect in. So for instance, you can see the top of this right here would be the top of the connector, and it would just drop right on in. So if I did it backwards, upside down, then I have to rotate this in here and get it in, and that kind of bends this wire up. So we'll see the final result really soon. Alright, since this is such a snug fit, there's the wire inside there. You want to press it to the area. I'll probably use a little bit of glue to hold it down in place, but just press it into this area. And I don't think we see any clipping, because I don't think it's clipping. I think it's just touching. Just snug fit is what it looks like. So you can see here, I'll try to go over a little bit more over what I was saying. So you place it down like this, and you can't just solder straight right here, okay, because then you have to twist this up in there. So if you're using a different type of wire, it'd be more difficult. For me, I can actually probably just twist this and not give a shit, but just to demonstrate, this is the black right here, and this is the red. So the black is just going to come up like this, and the red is going to come around this way. Or excuse me, this is black. The red's going to come around like that, and this way. Sorry. So red goes like that, black's going to come straight up. So basically down like this, up like that. And so you can hold your receiver or whatever with the vise and just plug in. You could even do all this if you want to. Just plug it in the connector, crimp it, solder it. Make sure you put the heat shrink first, always. I've never forgotten, but just because people will. Till the day I forget, I guess. So here on this one, do the same thing, and then you can also check, grab the motor real quick. With the motor, remember I said the back of the grip is going to be black, so you're going to turn this around here, black, red, and then you're going to remember this comes straight up to it, like that. Red's going to pass it, so it has to come up like this and then pass it, and then right to here. So it's going to come around basically like that. You're going to grab it, twist it, and so there you go. I don't know if I can do that one-handed very well. Like that. That's how you would want to solder it. And here you go. So you start up like this. Make it easier on yourself. Put it under something like a pair of scissors. Use some flux and pre-tin, and then put some solder, slight solder in both the wire and the connector piece. If the wiring is not twisted, twist it. Put some tin on there, some solder on there. Put them together. This will hold it in place or something similar. Just put it in position, solder it in, crimp the edges of it in the back here, and then put on the, oh, don't forget the heat shrink. Don't want to forget the heat shrink. Technically this is so small you could probably throw on some heat shrink if you forget. And then, let's see what else I was going to say. Oh, make sure that you check resistance first before you heat shrink it with the multimeter, and then you're all good to go, because if you didn't do a good job soldering, somehow these didn't get connected, when you go to shoot, you're going to be like, ah, what the hell, you missed a step. You need to check the connection first. Alright, so they fit in there perfectly. You just tilt the wire a little bit and press it down. Now if you're working with a metal end plate, put this down just to top. Metal end plate, this is plastic, which I am totally giving a plus. I don't know why. This is the first time I've seen plastic. But I checked by scratching the inside a little bit right here, and also saw on the other side where there was normal wear right here that this is not metal. It's hard plastic. So awesome, because you don't have to worry about a short ever with these things. And the last plates, they are all metal, and these areas right here scratch, and they contact the motor and create a short at some point. So this won't ever be an issue. But if you had one of these end plates that did do that, and you push it on here and make sure that either the positive or negative side can touch both sides here, because the metal will short through. If you have a problem with that, you can get some electrical liquid tape and put it across here, put it across there. You could sand it down and glue on electrical tape with super glue. I've done these methods. They work very well. I've never had an issue afterwards, but I just thought it was really cool, a little plastic plate for once. So go ahead and put that down, and now I'm going to Dean's the end here, and then I'll be all finished. Hey Brian, this seems all the way in to me, but I'm not really positive. I'm not sure if you need these little spots right here cut down a little bit on the back plate so that it locks more flushly in place. See, I'm not sure if this needs right here needs to lock, but when I push it down, it seems like it's all the way in. I'm not sure if it's not because of that taping stuff that you have. I don't know. See, doesn't seem to lock right there, but anyways, maybe that's why you have that there. I don't know, but just to show. That's with the Murph. So just to show how I've got it, you can actually probably pull this back. Let's see if you can. See, I kind of pulled it back there. No problem. So I can go ahead and open it to show you what I've done. And it looks like you have room for your LiPo alarm if you want to use that. I never use it, like I said, but they're just in there the same way. There's the MOSFET down there. Just pull this out real quick. I don't like how snug this is. Let me see if I can get this with my right hand out. It's a snug fit in there. Go ahead and pull this out. So there's the Murph. Undo it. And if I was to pull this forward, you want to be careful in doing this because you can clip your wiring, even though I've done this really well for you. But you pull this out here, and you can see it comes out like that. Go ahead and undo the Deans, and that piece is the mini Deans. Right here is the mini Deans. Comes out. Basically, how this goes inside is it twists like this around in the buffer tube. And you can see I have took the whole line and heat shrinked it to allow the twisting. And the reason for this is to basically avoid ripping your wiring, because that's what you don't want. Okay, and there it is to the end right there. Now if you want to take your gun apart, it's very simple. I'm going to do it right here, right now. It's kind of hard to hold the camera. Basically, what you're going to do is pull off the back like so, and you can see that just the two wires are exposed. And then use your screwdriver, get down in there, undo it, pull out the screw. And then at this step, just going to wiggle it out, and this will fall out, and this will come undone. And you can see there how nice the wire is for you. This is how I did my SIG. My SIG hasn't had any issues with this, so. And then just undo this here, and it's all set. So now we're just waiting on the gear, the hop-up unit, and shoot test it.